Righto, blower's all torqued up, and one of the things I remembered I had to do is, so I've got the LS1 harness for the LS1 injectors, so I think they're EV1s, and the new ones are EV6s. So I bought a heap of these to wire, so basically chop this one and solder them in somehow. And given the dramas that I've had so far, I thought, you know what, why waste a couple of hours doing that when I can just buy that? So I just ended up buying an EV6 harness. I'm just going to swap that over. It's going to take me 30 seconds instead of several hours. Knowing my luck, I'll probably wire them in wrong. So I'm going to swap that over now. So that's a fuel pressure reg, and it obviously needs a boost reference. So I've just cut that off for now. That's a little nozzle that I put in for that. Obviously you're going to make this a bit tighter, but I'm just going to leave it loose for now. Alright, so these are the two pipes that come out of the overflow. That is the inlet. So this is from our pump. So this is our coolant reservoir. It's supposed to join up to these two, and if it sits here and these pre-terminated hoses, if it sits there like that, that basically blocks the path that this one's supposed to go to there. I'll make a bracket up for that so that can sit there. That's at the highest point, so the cap is higher than the heat exchangers and the blower. That's where we can let the air out. Make a bracket so that sits there. This is the return down to the heat exchanger, and this is the pump that somehow needs to come up while that's there. Another thing we've got to make up is the throttle cable. So on this throttle body there's two options. We'll go with the longer one, sit that in there, and then it has to sort of sit there somewhere. So I might just make a little bracket off here and then put a longer bolt in there with a nylock nut to hold him on, and that should be enough support. So I just made a little bracket up for the coolant reservoir, so that's going to sit like that, and then I'm going to plumb in the two overflows from the heat exchanger. But it just reminded me, you can see that bracket there, it's made out of this aluminium bar, powder coated black. You just get it at Bunnings, but it's pretty handy stuff to have in the shed. For this install alone I made brackets for the heat exchanger, the heat exchanger pump, the oil, the transcooler over that side. Then in the engine bay, the dodgy map sensor that I had to make because their one didn't fit. Throttle cable bracket, you can see there. What else? Oh, this bracket. I think that's it. Yeah, so it's pretty handy stuff. You can get different sizes, something nice and thick so it's strong. But yeah, you can bend it up, make whatever you want out of it. It's pretty handy. How good is this? This is the Harrop fuel rail with the hose that they give you, and they have a little adapter here which I imagine goes on to like the original VT fuel sensor. But look at that, oh, straight onto mine, perfect. Well, let's see. It's not bad. I mean, it fits. I might have to modify later, but looks alright. And yeah, that's right, at least it fits for now, so we can keep going on. Righto, next thing on the list, vacuum for the booster. So normally this comes off and goes into the back of the manifold, which is also where there's a T-piece for the transmission and the vac lines for the aircon. So at some stage I'll have to put a T-piece in for that. which I don't have at the moment, but I'm just going to run a new one-way valve here with an AN fitting on it, and then it'll come through to the vacuum port on the blower there. So everything sort of here is under vacuum, then there's a blower, and then everything underneath that's positive pressure, so when it's spinning up. So that's why that fuel regulator is running off there and not here. There's a couple of other ports underneath, I noticed too, so I have to cap those off so we don't get any vacuum leaks. But yeah, I'll run this line to there, and that's another job done. Alright, so I'm looking around, and I've got the breather system open at the moment, which is fine. I've put little caps on the ports that were under there so they don't suck air in. Everything's wired up. Obviously I'm going to tidy up all this wiring once it's running, but I mean, fuel system's there, wiring's complete, coolant system's complete. So we can charge the coolant system, well, both coolant systems. We've got a new radiator and a new heat exchanger, so we can charge those. Let's test this new belt length. That's probably the next thing to do. So I don't know what I did wrong, but I am miles out. That is supposed to be in there. Yeah, that's going to be really close with that new belt. This new belt's a lot thicker than the old belt. So this is supposed to be here. I mean, it will still run. It would probably still make boost, but it's not the ideal path. That's supposed to be coming in through here and then that way. So I don't know how I stuffed up that rope measurement, but yeah, that's got to come all the way into there, and that's a lot different to what I measured. Rightio, we've got the cooling system all plumbed up, we've got the thermofan wired. What I'm going to do now is just test the fans. Talked about using the relay, the setup from the light harness for some spotties or something with the 60 amp relay, and I ended up thinking the fan only drew 20 amps or 21 amps while it was running. Yes, it drew like 45, but there was that peak during the start, which is why you'd need a bigger fuse, why you need a bigger relay, blah blah blah. But the Haltech has the built-in soft start, so I can set the maximum amps that it'll draw during the start, which will reduce that big peak, that big spike, which is why you need all that other stuff. So I've just had a look here. I've set the soft start to 15 amps, and the maximum current's 25 obviously, and it's got a 2-second duration for the soft start. So I'm just going to give that a go, and you see here it's not very good at focusing, but that's your amps draw there. So I'll just turn him on. So what I saw then was still a peak. It drew 15 amps, which was the soft start, but then when it went from soft start to full current, it still peaked at 30, whereas the high amp rating for this Haltech wiring is 25. So what I'll do is I'll lift the soft start amps, and that should reduce the peak between the soft start amperage to the normal running amperage. It won't spike and then come back down again. So I'll just lift this up now. So you've got 15 amps there. Let's change that to 20. And then we're going to watch here for the peak when it does start. So that's 20. So I still saw a peak of 27 amps when it went from 20 to maximum. So I'll just put the soft start actually at 25. All right, soft start 25 amps. That's uploading. Okay, we're uploaded. Let's go. Ah, we've lost communication. Alright, I sort of missed that. You can still see here we're reading 25 amps, which we're not because we're not running. Oh, it's back to 0. So there's Wi-Fi is slowing us down a little bit here, but if we go low. Alright, we're sitting here, hopefully we got better Wi-Fi from the Haltech, so looking for that peak. So I've got the soft start set to 25, so when the big peak on an initial startup will only ever be 25, and then once it's running, it actually jumps down to sort of 21, 22, or even 19 amps. So that'll be good. Thermo fan for the transcooler, so that's all wired up too. Let's test that one. I can hear that going. I have already tested that, but I'm just testing it again. That only pulls 2 amps while it's running, but it's got a 10 amp soft starter, so I wonder what that. I'll just do another start. Yeah, that doesn't draw much amps at all. That's because I swapped it to the small one, so the bigger fan drew more amps. With the water pump, I ended up setting it up to run off this water injection. I don't know if I should be screen recording this, but I don't know if you can see it. This dodgy GoPro, but I've set the minimum RPM that it runs at to be 460 RPM, minimum load to be minus 100, which it will never get to. So this is, as long as the engine's running, the water pump will run. The minimum load will always be running, and the minimum air temperature is 0, which we don't get any colder than that here anyway. So the wiring, I'll set it up to the DPO2, and I'll put a reversed switched relay on there. So if we go to high, oh, probably should be doing this. Just heard the pump start. Just make sure we haven't made a mess here, possibly. Righto, so see if we can get a bit closer to the engine bay without losing Wi-Fi. Oh, we lost Wi-Fi already. Damn it. Just to come back. Alright, we're back. So this is a negatively switched relay. Couldn't get it to work the other way for some reason. So if we go high, we're going to disconnect. Oh, there we go. So I've just locked in that command and we are pumping. So that's running. I'm just gonna, doesn't look like it emptied that much once it started running, so I'm just gonna top him up while it's going. Topped up the radiator, so both the separate coolant systems have been charged, they're good to go. We don't have the right belt path, that isn't going through here, but it'll work for now. I need to re-measure it, find out what I did wrong and get this travelling under there. Can hear that pump. You can see both the heat exchangers are full now. We've got the flows from them coming down, so we're filling up that heat exchanger. I better top up that before it gets too empty. So you can see that coolant goodness. There are some bleed ports on the top of the exchanger bleeding the air out. I haven't done that yet. The next thing I'm going to do is I have a map in here that has all the settings for those Expert 1170 fuel injectors. So what I've done is it's got a Haltech settings. It's like an Excel document. You get the Haltech settings for the fuel injectors, and you basically add it in here and you say this is what I've got, and fingers crossed it should start. It should deliver the right amount of fuel. There's obviously a lot of learning to go through with the VE table and whatnot. I'm hoping it should fire, unless I've done something completely wrong. I'm in the car now. trying to stay as close to the Rebel as I can. Looking at the bonnet, it's not going to be like that for much longer. Fuel tuning, target lambda. So I've got the positive pressure side for the lambda table. That wasn't there before. That's going to give us some boost. Got the VE table. What else have we got? Ignition tuning, base ignition tuning. So we've got positive pressure here as well, which we haven't tuned yet. Alright, I just need to check the... So because we've got different injectors, we've had to add, and they're called stage 1. So you've got engine configuration, fuel system, first stage, select stage 1 injectors. So that means that they're custom types, and you go down here. So that is the table that I've added for them. So that's all saved. There's nothing stopping us from starting this. I'm just going to go and have a moment. Just double check everything. So that's alright. That can top up as that moves. That's connected. Belt's connected. Nothing's going to burn on the exhaust. Fuel, pressure reg. Alright, I think we're ready to go. It's a little bit scary actually. Alright, this is a big moment. A lot of stuff has changed on my car. And I'm not at a shop. Just little old Tim in his garage with not a lot of instructions. Pretty dangerous really. Could have done anything. Right, we're on. I'm gonna give it a go.